Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm going to talk about the test that we took this past week. I want you to read this with me. All students, as you grade your test using this PowerPoint, you will need to do the following. You're going to grade every problem. For every problem you miss, you will copy the work I'm showing on a piece of paper. Your work needs to be neat and readable, or you will sit and do it again. You will staple the paper to your test and hand it back before you leave class today. I am not going to try to go too fast, but you can pause this anytime you want to copy what I'm showing you. The first couple questions on the prime and composite, I am not going to take a lot of time to talk about it. I'm just going to demonstrate and show you the answer, okay? Number one is letter A. Oh, sorry kids, yeah. Letter A, sorry kids. And number two, it says we have to select two answers and they're prime. Up here it's prime as well. But here it says which of the following are prime, letter A, letter E. Remember, prime only has two factors. Number three, it says we have to select three answers of composite numbers. Now, composite means that we have more than two factors. And you know what? I know you're not going to show your work. I didn't ask you to, but the answers are A, B, and D. These two are prime, only two factors. Let's keep moving. Number four, find the greatest common factor, the GCF, which is looking like, did you look at these two? They're the same words, 8 and 12. If you start out with 2, you'll get that. And you can divide them by 2 again, you'll get 2 over 3. The 2 and the 3 are in counting order, so you take the side numbers and you multiply them. Alright, number 5. 4 is your answer, by the way, GCF. But don't write GCF and write just 4. So find the greatest common factor of 40 and 24. Well, kids, one of these 4 answers here has to be the answer. Right? Greatest common factor. Whenever we talk about greatest common factor, we want to divide. Well, if we divide both of these by 2, it would be 12 and 20. If we would divide by 2 again, it would be 6 and 10. Well, you can take 6 and 10, and I'm going to put it down here, and you can divide it again by 2. It would be 3 and 5. Well, this is in its simplest form. So, and the only thing you can divide 3 and 5 by are 1. We'll take the 3 2's and multiply them. For us to miss this question is wrong, because you can't take 16 and divide it into 12 and 20, or 24 and 40. We should know that by now. Number 6, we want to excuse me. Which of the following number pairs has the greatest common factor of 9? Greatest common factor, GCF of 9. Select 3. Select 3 that apply. Some of us didn't read that because I noticed that some of us only had 1 or 2 answers. Alright, so if it says the greatest common factor of 9, then I need to find 3 of these that has the greatest common factor of 9. So I might as well just go ahead and divide by 9. 45 divided by 9 is 5. 72 divided by 9 is 8. Well, those two numbers can't be divided by anything but 1. So here, A is an answer. So let's take 27 and 90. Do the same thing. Let's divide it by 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3. 90 divided by 9 is 10. This cannot be divided by anything. 3 and 10 can't be divided by anything other than 1. So you know what? We'll move on. Here's our second answer, B. Now let's go to C. And here's where some of you just picked 3 answers. You didn't think you thought this was the right answer. C is not a correct response. Watch. 9 divided into 18 goes 2. 9 divided into 36 goes 4. Guess what? I can divide 2 and 4 again by 2. Well, 1 and 2 are in counting order, and the only thing 1 and 2 have in common is 1. So I'm going to take the outside numbers, and I'm going to multiply. 2 times 9 is 18. Guess what? The greatest common factor is 18, but it's only asking me for the greatest common factor of 9. That's why C is not the answer. D is, though. If C is not an answer and it tells me to pick 3, it has to be A, B, D. Here we go, kids. Next one. Whoops, I apologize. Number 7, we are multiplying. Another thing, kids, that I found is that some of us did a great job of multiplying. We really did. And yet, when we went to count the decimal places, we still don't know. Decimal places are counting the digits that are to the right of a decimal point. It's not the decimal point. All right? We're done with the 7. We'll put a 0. 5 times 3 is 15. Cross the 2 out. Put a 1 above the 4. 5 times 4 plus 1 is 21. I also noticed that some of us would take 5 times 4 and we'd forget to add the 1. So you know what? Some of us are getting the right process. We're just not completing it correctly. Let's count decimal places, and there are 4 decimal places. Down here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We want 4 decimal places. So, kids, here's our answer, C. And some of you just need to be more careful. I know, tests are pressure. Get it. Alrighty, here we go, kids. Number 8. Again, you can stop the video anytime you want to copy this stuff, because I am probably going too fast for some of us. But, you know, whoops, I apologize. You just gotta get it done, kids. It's really something that we need to get better at. All right, here we go. Now, I hope that you're taking 254, and the more I do this, my hope is the more you do this yourself to help you. But some of you don't like doing this because it takes time. I get that. I do. But you know what? You're just going to have to help yourself get there. And you've got to do this. There's absolutely no reason for us not to be able to do this. Even if you add 254 to 254 to get 508, and 508 plus 254 to get 762. That's great. Just make sure you know what it is you're doing when it comes to what numbers you're talking about. You don't want to make errors like me all the time. Okay? So we know that we can take 254 and 812 3 times, and that is 762. Now, another thing I noticed is that from here to here, when we copy, we got to double check. Do we write 762 like this says 762? I hope so. So 2 minus 2 is 0. We're going to borrow. 11 minus 6 is 5. There's our 8 that we drop. 50 is less than 254, so I drop it. I know I can do that. And how many times can 254 go into 508? 2 times. Kids, to me, that is a problem we all should be able to do. I know, it's a struggle, but we got to get to it, kids, because that's the expectation. All right, so here we go, next one. Number 9. It is 49 divided into 12,000. I don't even like that comma. I don't want it to look like a decimal. 12,642. All right, so I'm going to take 49 over here, and I'm going to go 49 times 1, 49, times 2, 98, times 3, 147, times 4 would be 196. 49 times 5 don't want to get it too close to my work over here, is 245, I believe. You know, kids, I know some of us getting really stressed and frustrated and crying and upset about these questions on a test, but you know what? The bottom line is, some of us are just, we just don't take time to think through what we're doing, and we get into a panic mode, and we just have to improve our skills in order for us to get better. All right? So here we go. Let's keep working. Stop talking, Mr. Kaufman. Thank you. All right, so we got 2 times 49. We got 16 minus 8. Borrow. 11 minus 9 is 2. Drop the 4. 28 smaller than 49, so I'm okay. 284. Maybe we have to take 49 times 6, which would be too big, because it would be 294. That's too big. So we're going to use 5 right here. And we're going to write 245. We're going to borrow. Subtract 14 minus 5 is 9. Have to borrow from this, we're going to make it a 7. 7 minus 4 is 3. We drop the 2. Drop the 2. All right. Now I'm going to probably run out of room, so I'm going to have to shift my work over a little bit. So we have to keep going. So we got 49 times 7. And 49 times 7 would give us 3. It would give us 4, 3. We'd have to do 46 again. So it'd be 49 times 8. That'd be a 2. 9 times 8 is 72. 32 plus 7 is 39. And sure enough, right there's our answer. 392. Kids, we have never worked on division where we go like 4 or 5 places past the decimal point. And again, look at what you have. Look at what you have. If you do this right here, really be careful with this. If you make errors in this part right here, you're going to have a hard time figuring it out. And if some of you went and put a 7 up here above the 8, and your remainder ended up being a 49, you gotta increase that 7 to an 8. It's just, I gotta keep working. Here we go, kids. I gotta keep moving on, or we'll never get it done. Here we go, number 10. Okay, so we're going to take 279 and 2.6, 2 6/10 into 279.5, right? Good. Got to move the decimal. Move the decimal. It's located right there, and now it comes right above it. Right there. All right, so 26. 26 times 1 times 2 times 3. You know, kids, you notice these answers? They all have a 1075. The only difference is, well, this one here doesn't have a 0, but some have a decimal point, some don't. Pay attention to your answers. All right, so we're going to take 26 into 27 one time. We subtract. Bring the 1 down. 1 is less than 26. Drop the 9. Can you take 26 into 19? Can you? No. Put a 0. Put a 0 above the 9. We drop the 5 because we know that 26 times 0 is 0. So let's keep going. Times 4 would be 104. Times 5 would be 130. Are we close to 195 yet? No. Times 6 would be 156. Times 7 would be 182. Well, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. So let's go to 182 here and see what happens. I want to put a 7 up there, right? Well, guess what? Already I know my answer because I have 107. And I have to add a 0 Now don't add the 0 in the dividend. We don't want a 0 up here. We don't want a 0 right there. We're not putting a 0 there. That's not where you put it. When you have to add a 0, a decimal point 0, you do it in the dividend right here. Drop the 0. Guess what? See, every answer has a 5 at the end. This has a 5, that has a 5, that has a 5, that has a 5. Well, guess it's going to be a 5, kids. You see, taking a test sometimes you have to look at the answers. It helps. It really does. Here we go. Mr. Common, you'll never make it. I know. Number 11. Here we go. Joshua started the month with $20.50 in his bank. I'm just going to show you the work. We've got $20. Mr. Common, you can't do that. No, can't do that either. Sorry. Sorry, kids. Messed up. Here we go. All right, so we got $20 already, right? And put a dollar sign there. And he earned $3.75. He started the month with that. He spent $5.25 at the movies. That is a minus. And he spent it, so he doesn't have it. Joshua mowed his neighbor's lawn for $7.50. He mowed it. He made $7.50. Finally, he bought. Oh, he bought again? Okay, so that's another negative. $18.75. How much did Joshua have at the end of the month? I am amazed, kids. Some of you tried to subtract. Some of you tried to divide. Some of you tried to multiply. You have to add. Well, you had to do some subtracting, maybe. Yeah, you did. You had to do some subtracting. All right, but 0, 5, and 0 added together is 5. And 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 7 is 17. Carry the 1. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Carry the 1. $31.75. Now that's what he has. He has that money. Let's see what he spent. He spent $5.25, and he spent $18.75. Let's add those two together. Let's see what we get. $24 even. That's what he spent. Okay, I'm going to write the word spent. So we take $24 and we subtract it from $31.75, and guess what? Kids, every answer ends in 75 or 25. Well, these two don't end in 75. Those are gone. And we're subtracting, so 11 minus 4 is $7.75. And your answer is A. Here we go. Number 12, probably the one problem that a lot of us got confused on. 16 over 1 times 3/8. Got to make 16 a fraction. That's why we put 1 underneath. Kids, we do not write reciprocals. Not when we multiply. So, it would be 16 times 3 is 48. 8 times 1 is 8. Answer, 6. Right there. I do not understand why we are taking 16 times this and 16 times that. That is wrong. Don't do that. Don't do that. It is 16 times 3 and 1 times 8. Numerators times numerators. Denominators times denominators. I am shocked that we thought we should write the reciprocal. It's only when we're dividing. Here we go. Alrighty, number 13. Same thing. We're gonna multiply. Now this problem was a little bit more crazy because we had bigger numbers, and some of us ended up with 40 over 216, which is good. But then you know what you got to do? You got to simplify. We need to be able to simplify. Now, are we ever going to see big fractions like this? I doubt it, but still, the point is, you should be able to. Now, you could do the cakewalk method if you'd like to. That's fine. Or you could just divide them by 2. And we did that. We did a really great job of that, and some of us came up with this answer. But kids, do you not see that 0 and 8 are even? So, guess what we can do? divide them again by 2. And the answer is 10 over 54. Well, guess what? We can divide them again by 2. And guess what? The answer is 5/27. And that is it right there. I know it's a long problem. But you know what? If we really truly knew how to pre-simplify, it would make our fractions smaller. You know, it would. And some of us know and some of us don't. So we got to keep getting better at that. Alrighty, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 14, another division problem. We got beat up by division. It took us out in the back shed and it whooped us. Just whooped us badly. Alrighty, kids. 32 times 1. 30. Oh, Mr. Coleman, you're going to run out of room. Let's put it over here. Sorry, kids. 32 times 1, 32. Times 2 is 64. Times 3, 96. So we're going to go once. 32 goes into 33 once, right? And we subtract. 1 is smaller than 32. We drop the 6. You can't take 32 into 16. You put a 0 there. I'm just really confused why we still don't understand that you can't do this. When I ask you as a class, the majority of us say no, it goes 0 times. Right? So we add a decimal point, 0, drop it, put the decimal point right above. Notice I didn't put a 0 up here. I put it right there. Drop the 0. All right, we're not quite at 160 yet, so we got to go again. Now, times 4 is 128. Times 5, this is 160. Well, guess what? Answer 100 or 10 decimal point 5. That's our answer, kids. And again, some of us had 15. But you did the work. The only thing you forgot was the 0. And we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't give up. Here we go, kids. Another one of those nice division problems that we have to do. 45 divided into 1224. Right? I know, kids. It's a long video. Mr. Coleman's going on and on. So we got 54 times 1. 54, or 45, I'm sorry, times 2. So we got 45, we got 90, right? Well, I think that 45 times 3 is 135. So that's too big, so we're going to go 2. That's a 90. 12 minus 9 is 3. And again, kids, you know what? Our subtraction's beating us up. It really is. We just got to do a better job of subtracting. So we got 45 times 4, which is 180, times 5 is 225, times 6 is 270. I'm going to move over here. Times 7 is 270, and 45 would be 315. Right? Okay. So here's a 7. 315. Guess what? We've got to subtract. 14 minus 5 is 9. We don't have a remainder. We're not working with remainders when we're in this. We're adding a 0 and continuing on. And guess what? It goes 2 times right here. So our answer is 27 2/10. Alrighty, kids. Number 16. I'm getting tired. I know you are too. A lot of work. 4½ divided by 1 1/4 is really 9/2 divided by 5/4. We do not multiply. Keep. Change. Flip. 9/2 times 4/5 equals 36/10, or 3 6/10. Kids, 6/10 is simplifiable by 2. guess what? You got to be able to do that. Your answer is 3 3/5. So if you get 3 6/10, that's great. You've got to simplify it. Number 17. Kids, this isn't a multiplying problem. This is an adding problem. You take the 3 managers and you add their times together. This isn't multiplying. Look at your answer down there. You're not going to multiply, get those answers. Some of you are working way too hard. I think we did pretty well in this, though, as a group. There we go. Where's 875? Guess what? I can already tell you my answer is D, based on the fact that it has 875 at the end. But let's just finish it. All right, so that's 5, 6, 9. There you go, kids. Bingo. That's your answer. Let's keep moving. And number 18, probably the one question that was missed more often than any other. And by the way, that should be 6 3/4, and that is my error. So we want to know how many 1/2 cup servings are in a box of oatmeal that contains 6 3/4 cups. We want to divide. Anytime you want to find out how much of this we can get out of that, it's a division process. Some of us did that, but we just got messed up with our thinking. So we have 27/4 times, now I can write the reciprocal, keep, change, flip, 2/1, or 54/4. And we got 3 3/8. I'm still not quite sure how we got there. Still not quite sure. But that's okay, because you can take 54 divided by 4, and it will go 3 times. 4 into 5 goes once. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Drop the 4. 4 goes into 14 3 times. And I'm sorry, kids. Like you, I am tired as well of writing all this down. But for those of us who did really well, I did not want to take their time from doing some other things. So that's what we get. And we get 13, and we have, now you notice that there are fractions over here. So we get 13 2/4, or 1/2. Well, kids, there's only one answer in here that has 1/2. That's letter D. Letter D. So 13 2/4 becomes 13 1/2, and I should probably write that as 13 1/2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry that you had to do all that work, but we had to get to where we had to go. Hey, thanks for listening. Keep working. We'll get better.